Welcome back to my channel, Beautiful Minutia. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and today I'm doing the Jane Austen Heroines book tag. So it's Jane Austen July, and it feels like the perfect time to be doing this tag that was just recently created by Anne in Search of Wonder and Charlene from Coffee and a Book. Charlene's the one who tagged me, but Anne and Charlene have been doing this awesome readathon this entire year, celebrating, I think, the 250th birthday of Jane Austen. So if you're a Jane Austen fan and you're not subscribed to these ladies, you need to be, because they have been reading a Jane Austen book or something that is related to that, like in a Jane Austen adjacent book every single month and chatting about it. And yeah, they have had so much Jane Austen content this year. But like I said, it's Jane Austen July, so this is the perfect month to do this book tag. And each question is based off of a certain Jane Austen heroine, as you might imagine. So the first question is Lizzie from Pride and Prejudice, and it's a book that made you laugh. I think the most recent book that made me laugh is one that I'm reading right now, which is Anne of Windy Poplars by Ella Montgomery. All of the Anne books make me laugh. There's so much humor and wit to them, while at the same time having like heart and beautiful nature writing, and just like, you know, a main character with an indomitable and optimistic heart, and just, oh, they're all so wonderful. But Anne of Windy Poplars is the one that is currently making me laugh. Question number 2 is Jane, a book with a satisfying ending. For that one, the first book that came to mind is My Antonia by Willa Cather. This is a beautiful book about two young children that are kind of displaced and end up in the Nebraskan prairie, and they end up befriending one another. The boy has moved because his parents have passed away and he's moving with his grandparents, but the girl is a Bohemian immigrant, and so her father asks the young boy if he will teach his daughter Antonia how to read. And so from then we follow them through their childhood, their young adulthood, and just it feels very episodic at times because it's just snippets of their childhood and young adulthood. But once you reach the end of that book, when they are both adults and they come together and see each other, it comes full circle in such a beautiful way about how our roots and our home shape our lives. Question number 3 is Elinor from Sense and Sensibility, and it's a book that made you think. For that one, I have to go with Cain's Jawbone, which I read with my in-person book club last fall, and we thought we would try to solve this mystery. This is a book, I think it's like only 4 people have ever solved this mystery ever, and there used to be like a prize for it or something. You would send in your findings. And so this is like 100 pages long, and all of the pages are out of order. And if you can put the pages in the correct order, you will know who has been killed and who the murderers are. But you don't otherwise, because it's all just like such a hodgepodge. So we took time as a book club to try to sort these pages together. We found out that I think there's like 8 different narrators, so you have to group them according to each narrator and figure out what pages go to what narrator, and then put those pages in the correct order, and then put the narrators in the correct order to then actually have the story. Suffice it to say that we thought for sure with all of our brains together we could figure this out, and we absolutely did not. We used some cheats online to help us put some of the pages in order, and actually I don't think we ever like read it all in order. I didn't read it all in order. We got the pages where we needed to, and then I was gonna read it in order, and I think I didn't, but it was so fun though, like just poring over the pages, and like people have devoted years of their lives to trying to figure this out. And yeah, so I have never had a book bust my brain quite so hard as Cain's Jawbone. Also from Sense and Sensibility is Marianne, a book that made you feel. And I'm going to go with The Labors of Hercules Beale by Gary D. Schmidt. Actually, any book I've read by Gary D. Schmidt makes me feel a lot of things, a lot of feelings. So The Labors of Hercules Beale is about a young boy who has experienced tragedy in his life. You don't really know any details about that at the beginning. You just know that his older brother is raising him, and he's about to start at a new school, so he's feeling some displacement at the same time. And there's so much humor in these books. There's so many funny situations, but he has a teacher that is teaching them about Greek mythology, and each student has like an assignment of something they have to do, and he has to recreate the labors of Hercules because his name is Hercules Beale. He learns life lessons throughout the way and processes his grief, but it's also a beautiful story of community and all of those kinds of things. So this is a book that made me laugh and cry so many times. Next, we have Emma, which is a book you want everyone to read. That's kind of hard for me, honestly, because I am definitely a believer that not all books are for all people. So a book that one person might love, another person might hate, and it's not because you're stupid and you just don't get it. Like, just not every book is for every person. But the book I am going to say here is Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, because I think that this truly could be a book for a lot of people. Obviously, this is a book for Christians, about Christianity, and I think it is invaluable for any Christian to read this book. Like, if you're a Christian and you haven't read this book, you should. But if you're someone who's not a Christian and you're curious about Christianity, I think this book is fantastic. Like, the first half of this book in particular really closely details what Christianity is all about and what core tenets and beliefs are part of Christianity. So I feel like it's very informative for someone who might want to know more about Christianity as well. The next question is Catherine. I love Catherine. Let me just tell you, baby Tiffany was a lot like baby Catherine. As a teenager, I was very much like, well, I still am really anxious and always trying to like look for like crazy worst case scenarios, but I was very imaginative as a teenager, even more so than an adult. I hope I've tempered that just a little bit. But yeah, that's why I love Northanger Abbey so much, is because I relate to poor Catherine, who also believes the best of people and gets her heart trumped as a result. So yeah, my husband is very much a Henry Tilney as well. Anyways, that's my little side tangent about why I love Northanger Abbey so much, but it's also so funny. But the prompt for Catherine is a book that gives you goosebumps, because Catherine loves to read these gothic mysteries that just make her imagination run away with her, and she makes some pretty hilarious assumptions as a result. So I'm assuming when they say goosebumps, they mean something scary. So I don't read a lot of scary books, but I have read some T. Kingfisher that I've really enjoyed. I love the Sworn Soldier series, but my favorite is the first book, which is What Moves the Dead. And this is a kind of fantastical retelling of Edgar Allan Poe's Fall of the House of Usher, which is why I love it so much. I read the second book too, which is What Feasts at Night, which kind of deals with, I don't know, some sort of like myth or legends, and I'm trying to remember what it is, but I didn't enjoy that one quite as much as I enjoyed What Moves the Dead, and I think it's because I was looking for those Poe correlations that I just really enjoyed. But T. Kingfisher is like horror light, and so she's horror that I can handle. I can't handle most horror. Question number 7 is Fanny from Mansfield Park, a book you love that doesn't get enough notice. Poor Fanny, she really doesn't get enough notice, and a lot of people love to hate Mansfield Park. I don't get the hate. I like Fanny. Anyways, for that one, I'm going to say Momo, because I never hear anybody talk about this book, and I think it's a shame. So this author also wrote The Never-Ending Story, which has definitely gotten more critical acclaim and international publicity than Momo. I think Momo is very popular in Germany, but not so much in the United States, which is really a shame, because I love this book. I think it is so great. This is a book about a young girl, and her name is Momo, as you might imagine. And there are these people going around who are like stealing time from people and cheating people out of time. And so she has to kind of try to figure out how to save this town from these men in gray suits who are going around. And it's so well written. Like, it's quirky, it's fun, as characters that you invest in and love, but it also has like a really thought-provoking message and feels like kind of fairy tale-esque. And I just really enjoyed it. And I don't know why there aren't more people in the United States that love Momo, because they should. Next, we have Anne from Persuasion, a book you read a long time ago and loved, but now you're not sure how you feel about it. So instead of a book, I'm actually going to go with some authors that I loved when I was younger, and I'm like, feel like maybe this was just teenage Tiffany who loved these authors, and I feel like adult Tiffany, maybe not quite so much. So the first one would be Ted Dekker, and I say this because I've read some of Ted Dekker's books as an adult and didn't really enjoy them, even some that were favorites of mine when I was younger. I've reread them, and his writing style just doesn't do it for me anymore, and I don't know why. I can't quite put my finger on what it is about his writing, but I loved him as a teenager. He writes a lot of like Christian suspense, and some of his books are really intense and really creepy. He's also written some fantasies that are less creepy, but I just was like I don't know, like the ones that I've reread as an adult, I have been more than underwhelmed. And the only reason I've even held on to my Ted Dekker collection is because I think there's a chance my daughter will enjoy them when she's a teenager, because I loved them. And for some reason they're just like, they're not holding up for me. But I haven't reread the Circle trilogy, which is a very allegorical kind of like portal fantasy / sci-fi. And I loved those, and I'm afraid to reread those because I'm afraid that I'm not gonna love them when I have such fond memories of them. The other author is John Green, which is a very YA author, but I loved The Fault in Our Stars so much. And I liked Looking for Alaska. Okay, I really liked, there's one that was like Too Many Catherines or something about Catherines, An Abundance of Catherines, I think. I've read a bunch of his books. I probably read like 5 of his books and really, really liked them when I was like a young adult. But I already look back at them and be like, I think that I will not enjoy those as an adult, because I tend to not really enjoy YA books now that I'm in my 30s, mostly because there's just a lot of angst in them. And I was a very angsty teenager, and I don't care to relive those days. I have nothing against adults who love YA books. I'm so glad if like there are people outside the YA age range who love YA books. I am so glad. I wish that I could, but they just remind me too much of years I would like to forget. Next is Lady Susan, a villain you love or love to hate. I could just say Lady Susan for this, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say Kyle Haven from the Live Ship Traders series by Robin Hobb. My gosh, do I love to hate that man. What a manipulative, awful jerk. I hated him. I hated him so much. It's like the most hated villain I have hated in a really long time, but it was fun to hate him. The last question is just to tag some bookish heroines or heroes. So I don't know who's already done this tag. I have been kind of off the booktube grid a little bit in terms of like watching videos because I traveled so much during the month of June. And so Charlene tagged me in this a little while ago, so I might be double tagging people who have already been tagged or who have already done it. So if you have already done this, then I'm sorry. So I'm going to tag some people that I know really like Jane Austen. So I'm going to tag Jen's Reading Life and Kate Howe and Kaylee from Luminous Libro, Dia from Novel Idea, and Miriam Elizabeth, because I feel like these are all ladies who I would really enjoy hearing their answers to this. And if you would like to do this tag, please consider yourself tagged. I would love to hear your answers as well, or you can even share your answers in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe so you can continue to see more bookish content from me, and I will see you again next time.